But talking about the new year, D-Lo,
Yes, sir.
we were suggested that we do a good, bad, and ugly for the Too Complex podcast. So just to start the episode off, there was a lot of successes that we had. And congratulations to you. Congratulations to the podcast. Thank you for doing this with me. Of course, I enjoy this every single weekend, man, and I love that we get to do this.
Bro. Don't leave yourself out.
I know. I was the one talking, so I ain't gonna say. I would say congratulations.
You can't say me and don't say you though. Say it that way.
Congratulations to us, you know what I'm saying, for putting this thing together finally, after talking about it for so freaking long and not doing it, and then finally saying, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. This is go out there and take a leap of faith and just do it. So there was a lot of good things that happened. There were some bad things that happened, and there was some ugly that was in this motherfucker too. So
I'm interested to hear what you got to say on this. I think mine is a little bit lighthearted, but I'm interested because you know you're a little bit more. I'm a little more reserved than you are, so I'm interested to hear what you got to say.
So I'm gonna get mine first. So let me see. So the good, of course, we already talked about it in the intro when I introed the show today. We hit 500 subs in a year, D-Lo. And I think that right there is an accomplishment within itself. It allows us to take advantage a little bit more of YouTube, and it allows us not to take advantage of YouTube. Don't take it that way, YouTube. I ain't mean like that, but it allows us to do a little bit more as far as the YouTube process, and gives us a little bit more leeway to have fun. You know what I'm saying? Have fun with the podcast and do things a little bit different. So that was my first good thing of the year. My next good thing of the year was to have a video, the Udoka video, go over 30K views. So we had a video on the pod that had 30,000 views, 31,390 to be exact. So that was some of the good things that happened to me. What was the good for you, D-Lo?
So the good for me was our ability to stick it out and push through. The reason I said that is because there was a point where it was like, damn, what are we really doing this for? Why do we even put up with the stuff that we put up with? And it's surprisingly so we refer to YouTube a little bit differently than most podcasts who may look to just be on streaming platforms first. We're looking at the opposite way. We're trying to utilize YouTube, and then from there, hopefully everybody will follow us to the streaming platforms. But even us being a small channel on YouTube, there's a lot of stuff that we deal with some of our takes, some of our segments that we publish. It's like, you didn't even look at I'll get into that in the bad. So we could have quit, but we didn't, because most podcasts don't make it past the first year. This is the year and a half, 2 years. It's a year and a half.
October, September. Yeah, September was the anniversary. So about a year and a half, just about.
Year and a half, yeah, or a year and a quarter, something like that. So we could have quit, but we didn't, and I'm proud of us for doing that, because
100%.
It's only up from here, in my opinion. I'm also proud of the amount of interaction that we've gained on our channel, whether, again, the good, bad, ugly, whatever the case may be. We have had a ton of interaction on our channel with some of the segments that we have. You mentioned the 31,000 views for one video, and then the countless other interactions and views on the videos that we have for YouTube. And then even on the streaming platforms, we have some engagement. I mean, you can't really communicate back and forth, but we do have people that listen to our podcast. And then the last one is more so for myself, but for both of us, because I am more reserved than you are, but you're reserved in your own right. Like, you're more out there than me, but you are reserved in your own right. So our willingness to continue to put ourselves out there and to take the type of ridicules and criticisms that we take for some of our takes that we have, I'm proud of us for that. And again, we're starting to become a little immune to it. So it's like, why not keep going?
Nah, facts, man. And it's, it's a lot. We could talk about a lot more good that happened. I mean, of course, we want to keep it humble, of course, but we can talk about a lot more good that happened. But it's definitely heartwarming to see all of y'all, come to us and listen to our takes and our views on different topics that are out there in pop culture, entertainment, sports, all of that stuff. So we appreciate y'all. Number one, we appreciate y'all. Number one. As far as the bad, I think the bad for me is, and this is a lot on me too. And I know you're gonna be like, nah, that's not it. This is a lot on me too. This is a lot on me because I need to take a little. I feel like I need to take a little bit more responsibility in the podcast for myself, but not taking advantage of social media more with the podcast. That was one of the bad things that I think we did. That's one of the things that I think we didn't do well in the first year of the podcast. We didn't take advantage of social media because whenever I look at different like YouTube channels and streaming services, like people who I actually follow on YouTube and like Twitch and stuff like that, the main thing that they say is if you're not taking advantage of TikTok or posting more shorts and reels and stuff like that, if you're not taking advantage of those things, then you're not doing your podcast or your streaming service you're not doing it any justice. So my vow to Too Complex, to y'all, to D-Lo is to be more active on social media with the podcast and making sure I post a little bit more as far as shorts, reels, and TikTok. So that's me. And
I think though with that, before you get into this, your second bad, but with that though is those other podcasts that you're referring to. I could be
huge though.
They're big podcasts, so they have
they
have a team, and it's just us
teams
right now. We have individuals that want to help us, and that could help us in the future. But as of the last year and a half of this, in our infancy of our podcast, it's just me and you that are team.
Yeah.
We've divvied up those tasks the best we can, and we've handled it the best we can. But this isn't the only thing we do in our day-to-day activity.
For sure.
Like we have jobs that we do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I think it'll get better. I think we are seeing the success, starting to see some of the success that we've had with this podcast, and I think it'll change. We'll put more effort into it.
Agreed. And then the last, I wouldn't say this is bad. This is something that we kind of stepped away from, that some of the people who watch our podcast that I know, and I think you mentioned it to me, that some of the people who watch our podcast that you know as well have said this, is that to having they always ask me like, why did y'all take the music out of the podcast when y'all do the segments? Like, why did you take the intros out and stuff like that? Like with the music and the logo. That. You haven't heard that? So my gaming buddies who watch the pod, like Rashad, shout out to you, Jesse, shout out to you too. They always ask like, why don't y'all just put the beats back in? Because the beats used to get me hype when I'm on, I'm listening, I'm saying, whatever. Shout out to Bush too for giving us, giving us the beats. Shout out to him. But they always ask me like, why did y'all take that out? So I'm like, because we wanted to get straight into the content, yada yada yada. Like, y'all should put that back in. So I wouldn't say that's bad. That's just like a criticism that I received from some of the audience asking, like, y'all should do that again. Like, it wasn't bad. It was like 7 to 10 seconds. It didn't take away from the podcast at all. So it was good. But either way, we can throw that in. We can't. It don't matter. I don't. I feel like we're doing good without it. But that was just a criticism that I got from people.
Well, shit, I'm interested to see what your ugly is, because I thought your bad was going to be worse than my bad. Now here I am thinking mine is way worse than yours.
Do you think? No, my ugly. So, I say the real bad for the ugly section. That's what I do.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even remember what I said for the ugly. Okay, all right. Yeah. So then the bad for me is people not watching or listening to the whole video, but then coming to the comments to say whatever they need to say, and it's like we said that. we said that, but you failed to watch the whole video. Right. So I don't know if that's us needing to better tell the story, better lay out the structure of the segment, or whatever the case may be, so that people are inclined to want to watch the whole video. Or want to listen to the whole segment rather than listen to a small portion of it and then assuming we didn't talk about it, which leads me into the number 2 is people assuming we have no clue that what we're talking about. And there are some cases where we don't know what we're talking about, where we've read a small portion of what happened in a scenario and we talk about the complexities of it. Mm-hmm. But as far as us not having a clue, that's to me the bad. Like, people assume that we don't know what we're talking about. We have multiple life experiences coming from the both of us. While we are, I say this all the time, while we are very similar, we're very different in our own rights, and we have had different experiences in our number of years on this earth. And so that gives us the ability to talk about realistically anything that we read and want to talk about because we can draw from our experiences. Will those experiences be on the part of a Joe Button, of Shannon Sharp, Joe Rogan, Ocho, and all them? No, they are multimillionaires who've played professionally. They've rubbed elbows with some of the most powerful people in the world, some of the most famous people in the world. So no, our experiences won't be that. But if you're talking about intellect, we can. I have no doubt my man and myself are on the same boat, in the same boat as them when it comes to talking about different things. Our delivery might not be exactly how theirs are, but we'll get there. I mean,
for sure.
They've trained to do this to some regard, whereas we're like, man, let's do a podcast, and we did it. So for me, those are the bad people not watching the whole video, but then coming to the comments saying, "Well, you didn't say this and that." Yes, we did, and then people just assuming we have no clue what we're talking about. Sometimes we don't. But if we can draw from our experiences and give our opinions.
For sure. And to be honest with you, bro, people not watching the video ain't our fault. It ain't our fault that the attention span of most people is 3 to 5 minutes. It ain't our fault. So if they were to literally, it ain't got nothing to do with the structure of the segment. It ain't got nothing to do with, us maybe putting certain, it just depends on how we flow in the conversation. Cause that's what a podcast is. If they want to watch the first 2 minutes of a 11-minute to 15-minute segment, that's on them. So if you didn't get the information, that's on you, bro. Like, just watch the video and you'll see that we honestly said what you think we didn't say in the comments. Period. But as far as, us not knowing what we talk about, like D-Lo said, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But from we're talking about what happened and our experience, our personal experience that relates to what happened.
Right.
That's what this is a podcast, bro. It's a podcast. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make it relatable. But I get it, D-Lo. Yeah, I get that. But as far as the ugly for me, number one for me was I got to make sure I stay civil in these comments. Because sometimes I be wanting to go in and I said it in a couple of episodes ago, my fingers be going. I'd be like, ooh. But that just goes back to, number one, what D-Lo said in the bad is y'all don't be watching the whole video. Period. That's just what it is. And sometimes if y'all just take a little bit more time to hear us out and hear how we relate to this and hear that we actually do, in a lot of cases, know what the fuck we talk about, then y'all understand that. But sometimes it just be like, there's no way you watch the whole video. So let me let you know, nice, nasty, like, that you didn't watch it. And this is what we actually said.
Passive.
That's number one. Yeah. You be reading the comment. I know you be like, bro, you.
Yeah, I'm like, man, listen, just calm down, bro. Let them be.
Facts. Let them be, because not that I'm
my
sensitive.
Thing is, yeah, go ahead. My fault.
Not that I'm sensitive or anything, because I'm very much not. Like, I really don't care what you think about me. But at the same time, this is something that's very important to me. I love this podcast. I love what we do every single weekend. And this is personal to me because I want this thing to grow. I want this to be, our dream is to have an actual broadcast at some point. So I want this to be something that's big. So since this is so sensitive and this is so personal to me and I love it, I take it very seriously. So whenever y'all make it seem like our product is shit, then I got to let you know that this is how I feel about what you just said to me. So that's what I said. What were you about to say, D-Lo?
No, I completely get that. Now, what I was going to say is, I feel like the reason I say let these people be is because I feel like at some point in time, we'll have a army, so to speak, behind us, a collection of individuals that actually rock with what we're doing and they actually watch and listening to our podcast. Yeah. They'll start to come into the comments and say, actually, nah, they said that. You just didn't listen, so on and so forth. And then the thing that I have learned in doing this podcast and why I feel a lot of confidence now in what we do is people will attack things that they are scared to do themselves. You know what I mean? So like, we're actually putting our face on camera and speaking about, giving different takes and speaking about various topics within the pop culture, sports, and entertainment world. And some people, they may think it or they may think opposite of it, but they don't have the courage to do what we do. And so because of that, they feel like, oh, this isn't XYZ. Let me go attack them and discourage them from doing what they do. And like I said, that's why I'm proud that we have continue to push through this, because most podcasts, especially those that now that most of all podcasts are video now, they don't make it past a certain point of time, and we're still here.
We still here.
I mean, it's not to say that we're guaranteed to be successful now, but in my eyes, we've been a success up until this point.
For sure. And my last ugly for the first year of Too Complex is the Kiki Palmer video from last week being the most disliked video on our channel in Too Complex history, mainly because, and I get it, y'all. I get it. The main reason why that was a topic is because she was exposed through text messages whenever the world thought Darius was solely guilty for what was going on in their relationship. I get it. And looking back, hindsight 2020, maybe we should have went through the text messages. I get that. But at the same time, that topic was like 2 weeks old. So the fact that, and we can't assume that everybody consumes the same media that we do. We can't assume that. But at the same time, that story was such a huge story. And the fact that it was a 2-week-old story that we were talking about, and there's multiple people in our comment section that hadn't seen the text messages yet, to me, it's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. But again, we probably should have gone through the text messages and read the text messages and said how she self-incriminated herself and how she held herself accountable in those text messages. So yeah, I get it. So that's something moving forward, learning from that experience, from y'all letting us know in the comments that we didn't read the text messages. That's something that we'll improve on moving forward. So that's the last ugly thing that I had to say. But
yeah, I mean, that's a part of journalism.
For sure.
And while we are talking about a lot of negativity in the comments, we do appreciate feedback 100%. In all regards. It helps us to improve and get better, and to kind of understand how to truly structure segments in ways that are entertaining, one, for you, and you can gather information and realistically think about different sides of the spectrum. So yeah, so for my ugly, that was one of them. So, keeping with that is not letting commenters get to us and drag us down. The other ugly for me was more so along the lines of things that I have forgotten to do. So, like I said earlier, we're a small team. It's just you and I handling all of the day-to-day functionalities and operations of the Too Complex podcast, every facet of it. I recall there was one point in time last year where I completely forgot to post the podcast on the streaming services for 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, gotcha.
And you don't remember that? You remember me telling you that?
I don't think you told me, but I remember that you said you kept hitting me up to not to remind you, but basically like you were hitting me up to remind yourself to do it. So I was like, damn, why did all of a sudden doing this? I didn't know, but I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I completely forgot. And the only reason I knew is because when I went to the page where you go to download it, it said we were on like 37 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And the count was at 35. I was like, that ain't right. Mm-hmm. And so when I went and looked at all of them, I was like, oh snap, I didn't post the last 2 weeks. So yeah, that was an ugly for me. Us letting comments get to us, and then also just completely forgetting to handle my aspect of the job.
Yeah. And it's crazy because somebody in the comments today actually was like, the dude in the red shirt, which was me last week, somebody said something to the effect of, I just had to laugh because it was funny. Somebody in the comments said, dude in the red shirt looks like he commits black on black crime and has a white girlfriend. I was like, hello? I was like, huh? Hello? What are you talking? I just had to laugh. And I was like, yo, you're hilarious. Thanks for the troll. Basically. I appreciate the troll. But it was just funny. So
that's crazy.
The last thing.
It's probably the other way around. Nah, I'm playing.
It probably
I'm the nicest guy out there.
We respect everybody in the comments, man. So we appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't know how to get better. So
I was talking about me. I wasn't talking about that person. I wasn't talking about that person. I was talking about myself.
You stupid. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Never mind. Anyway.
I don't do any black on black crime.
Yeah, true. But so my goals for the next year, for going into 2024 for Too Complex and myself, is number one, post more reels, shorts, and TikToks. That's for me. I need to get on top of that and take advantage of those social media services. I need to do that. I do, bro. I know what you're saying. I know what you're gonna say, Sticks. You know, it's both of us. We doing it together. We only a 2-man crew. I get it. And I know these other pages that I do watch that are saying to take advantage of social media or bigger services. They don't have, they're either single guys who don't have any lives outside of what they do on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and that's all they do is stream and post videos. I get it, but if the best way to build our audience, since we know from the comments that the attention span ain't that long, we know from the comments that it ain't that long. So to give them something that's a minute, maybe a minute and a half to watch, that gives them some sort of insight to what we're talking about in the podcast, might bring a little bit more foot traffic to the podcast and help us grow a little bit more. So I think it is important. So I do want to get better at that. Secondly, my goal is to try in some way, which I think I've done a little bit over the past month, is try to improve the thumbnails a little bit, maybe incorporate us a little bit more in the thumbnails a little bit as well. So that's another thing I want to improve. That's my goal for 2024. My next one was, and this is on y'all, and we of course we love y'all, but we want to hit 1,000 subscribers in 2024. So help us do that. Help us hit 1,000 subscribers in 2024. We hit 500 over the first year. Help us get 500 more in the second year of the podcast. So let's do that. And then keeping the content a little shorter, not being so long. So I wanted, long-winded with the segments and kind of got to keep the attention span a little bit more of the audience. So trying to keep it within that 10 to 12, being more concise, not being so long-winded, and trying to make sure that we keep it within the 10 to 12-ish, 15-ish minute range with the segments. But the shorter, the better, of course. So that's what I wanted to do too. That's my goals.
Yeah, so as far as my goals for 2024 of Too Complex is definitely, I want to get to that 1K subs on YouTube as quickly as possible. So if we can do that in the first 3 months, that would be great. If we can do it in the first month, that would be even amazing.
If we can get 500 subs in January, that'd be amazing. So y'all go hit that subscribe button.
That would be amazing. And really, I think we can do it. It's just, how fast we get there. I want it to be as quickly as possible. And then from there, hit the next milestone for subscribers, which would be 5,000.
5,000
and then
to 10,000.
From there,
the sky's the limit.
You double it, continue to double it as often as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Next for me, since I edit the podcast currently, as far as the videos and all that, upgrade the layout and look of the podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm looking to do that in the new year. So I'm looking at various podcasts that is consumed on an ongoing basis and taking tidbits from each and every one of them to try to figure out what's the best way to have us look like those podcasts, or being the fact that we are in 2 different locations and we probably will be in 2 different locations for the foreseeable future, is make that layout as popping, or whatever the best term to use there, as possible, that will grab the attention and not say, oh, this is some low grade stuff, these boys, and because I think that plays a part into people thinking we don't know what we're talking about, because stuff could be 100%. Low graded. And the last one for me is to continue to hone in on skills needed to make the content entertaining, and have people drawn to watch what and listen to what we're doing here.
I agree, man. I mean, it's definitely, of course, we all know, man, YouTube is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So we're gonna continue to improve. We're gonna continue to grow. We're gonna continue to bring you guys some great content, and we hope that you guys will stay with us and support the podcast as much as y'all have been. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, and thank y'all for supporting Too Complex, man. We love it. Oh, y'all still here? That must mean you love the content. And if that is the case, there's a video on the screen right here. Go ahead and click that, view that. Be sure you're going to love that one as well. And thank y'all for letting us, or getting us to 500 subscribers. We got a goal for the new year to hit 1,000. We're starting off small. Get us to 600. Hit that subscribe button on the screen right here. And we're on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.